Independent cinema, foreign language films, you have more choices now than you ever had before. So I wanted to discuss the main foreign language film streaming services or independent cinema streaming services that are available. That, or at least the ones that I'm aware of. There might be more out there, uh, but I'm gonna go with the ones that I think, or the ones I'm aware of, that have the most quality programming. If you're a fan of foreign language films, or independent films, or you want to be, there's some places that you want to go in order to find them. So I'll just run down the main uh, services that I want to discuss today, and I'll have some links down below. So there'll be some links that you can actually check out, so that you can actually explore the services in detail. Now, all the services I'm going to talk about right now are all have apps that are available in either the Android or iOS app stores. So you can go right to the app stores and download them. Another thing that's good about these services is that even before you actually make a purchase, you can actually check out the selection of films. They do allow you to download the app and you can check out the selection of films without actually having to put down any money. And some of them even have trial periods where you can actually sign up formally with a credit card and you have, I don't know, it depends on the individual service. You have to look at the individual terms. So I'll just first talk about MUBI. MUBI was the one that I was most familiar with. MUBI has a curated list of films. They release like almost a new film each and every day. They may have a total at any given time, might be like 20 films that are on the service. And each day they drop a film. So they'll add a new one and drop an older one like each day. So you do have, so it's very similar to a normal movie theater where movies come to a theater and they remain for a period of time and then they go on and new films show up. So it's a curated list of films, and it's a pretty decent curated list. And again, you can check it out either on their app or on the web by going into uh, the uh, their website on a desktop, and that's MUBI. Now, I think when they first came out, they were called the Artiers, and for whatever reason, they changed the name to MUBI, which is like actual movie. MUBI. I think it's a small town in Nigeria. Maybe because it sounds like movie that they did that. I forget why. They did have when they made that change, and I think a lot of the fans weren't that happy about it because they had like a very active forum. I came across a forum not knowing that it was attached to an actual service, just because I was looking up stuff about foreign films and I came across their forums, the discussion forums, and I think some of the fans didn't like the name change. But now, several years later, so you're used to it. I would assume by this point. So that's one of the first I wanted to mention. There's also Fandor. Fandor has been around for a long time, uh, and they have apps available on the App Store. There's also, well, one of the newer ones that's pretty decent is FilmStruck. FilmStruck is a partnership, I guess, between Turner Classic Movies and the Criterion Collection. Criterion Collection, if you're a fan of foreign language films or independent films, uh, they release some of the greatest, I guess, DVDs. I guess they also release Blu-rays, but I don't have a Blu-ray player, so I never actually looked at their Blu-rays. But their DVDs were awesome because often it was a multi-disc uh, release, and they would have commentary, uh, behind the scenes, interviews. They might add an additional small, additional short film. So it was really action packed. And when I was buying films, physical films, when I was making purchases, and I had to decide. So, say if I wanted to get a Godard film, Jean-Luc Godard is a famous director from France. If I wanted the Godard film, I had the choice. I can get the VHS, I can get the DVD, and I can choose what DVD company I want to purchase from. And sometimes you'll have a DVD which is very bare bones. It's just a film, possibly no commentary, no extras. And then you have something from the Criterion Collection. So you had to make that choice, and the Criterion Collection was more expensive. Even if you were purchasing them used, you often had to pay more than from the other sources. As everything was moving to other formats like DVD and so on, VHS was often really cheap. You can get a VHS for sometimes it's a few dollars, not counting the shipping. So you had to make that choice. Should I get the VHS, the DVD, or the action-packed DVD from Criterion Collection? So I was very appreciative of their work. And previously they used to have their whole movie catalog, I think, on Hulu. So I'm not sure when that partnership dissolved or if it's still active. I have no idea. But I'm assuming it's not active anymore because of this partnership that they have with this new service called FilmStruck. I've been checking out the movies. It's very awesome. It's a very great collection. The Criterion movies are there. And one of the things that's good about this is that they have a lot of the extras. They have, not in all the movies, but they have commentary available on some of the films. They have the behind the scenes, the interviews. On a lot of the films, those extras are available for them. So that's one of the things. You get that same flavor you get from the DVDs, which, for a while was not available with streaming. You just got the movie and that was it. So this is like a pretty cool thing. There's a few films that I have from the Criterion Collection, like just staying on Godard, Contempt, the movie. I don't see that there on FilmStruck for whatever reason. I think most of the Criterion Collection films are there, but there's a few. I think Criterion, if I'm not mistaken, they released a version of Do the Right Thing, the Spike Lee movie. I could be wrong about that, but I didn't see that there. I think there was another movie that Criterion released from Godard. What's it called? I'm trying to think the name of it. A Woman is a Woman. I didn't see that there. So there's a few films. Battle of Outsiders. I'm not sure if the Criterion released that, but I didn't see that as well. So there's a few Godard films I wasn't able to see that I knew that at one point they released. Maybe it's a licensing thing because I think some of them are out of print in the physical copies. Maybe the licensing ran out. I have no idea. It looks like the bulk of the Criterion Collection films are there, but there might be a few that are missing. But it's still an awesome service to look into. Another service, Sundance. Sundance, I think a lot of people know the Sundance Institute, Robert Redford, where's that? Park City, Utah. And they have the Sundance Channel, the Sundance Film Festival. Well, they also have a streaming app. I think it's called Sundance Now, if I'm not mistaken. So that's available for download, iOS and Android. And then there is also Tribeca Shortlist, Tribeca Film Festival. I've never actually been to the Tribeca Film Festival. And it's always a film festival I was interested in, but I never actually went there. I would love to do it, just to have another film festival underneath my belt. But they do have a streaming service. And again, you can download all these apps for free, and you can check out the film selection that they have at the moment. One of the things that's good about FilmStruck is that they have that whole Criterion library that's there for viewing at any point. It's not a curated list. I think there are a limited number of curated films that they do have that's separate, and they have like the pricing level. I think there's a pricing level where you can get a curated list, or also have access to the whole Criterion library. So the one that's curated is cheaper. If you want to have access to the whole library, that's more expensive. So you do have that choice. I'm not really sure about the Sundance Now and Tribeca, if they're curated, or do they also have, I'm assuming they're curated. I don't think they have a library of films that you can access at any point or any time. But those are all great things. There are other streaming services like Netflix. What's the one through Amazon? Amazon Prime Video. So there's other streaming services out there, but I think if you're a foreign language or independent cinema fan, they come up short because they just do not have a great selection of classic foreign cinema. They do have foreign films, but the classics are often missing. It's very rare to have a classic. I think on Amazon Prime, I've seen a few classic films, but it's very rare. Most of the time, you're going to have just mostly Hollywood films and a curated list of Hollywood films, and then a smattering of documentaries and television shows and other things like that. So, foreign language films, you often were left out in the cold and you didn't have a whole lot of options. So, right now, with everything going streaming from music to movies, television, networks is coming on and releasing their entire libraries for streaming purposes. So, you have a lot of options now for a lot of different ways to access media. And the thing about foreign language films, it was like the privileged few at one point that had access to a great selection of foreign language films. A lot of I'm just talking about the United States here, but I'm assuming that throughout the world there's a lot of similarities. Many towns and many cities do not have foreign language cinemas or cinemas that show foreign language films. They do not have great access to this type of material, so you had to just purchase it. Like when I was talking about earlier about me purchasing these DVDs, even though the city I lived in had a pretty good selection of foreign language films and film festivals and all that, in order to see these other films that are classics that you didn't have the opportunity to see in a theater because they released years previous, you had to just make a purchase. There wasn't really a lot of options. Another thing I did for a while was go to the library. Library had a great selection of classic films on VHS, and when I found that out, I was using that like crazy. I mean, it was like going to Blockbuster. I was going there, and they had the greatest films. A lot of the classic films that I first saw was at the library. The fees were crazy. If you didn't bring them back, you had like a week, and if you went over another day, they charged you a lot of money. So I paid out sometimes a lot in fees, but it was a great cinematic experience to see all those films. I learned about a lot of great directors like Santajit Rai and even a lot of Godard films. Stuff I never got a chance to see, I first saw by going to the library. So you got to use all your resources. So these streaming services are another resource you can use just to have access to some great works of art. I mean, these are just more than just going to the movies. These are great artistic expression, and I think it can actually widen your worldview. So it's got something to look into. So check out the links below. Check out the services. Find one you like. You might want to think about signing up. Peace.